where we filmed the video that changed our lives forever. It just went, take this and like twist it into like the most weirdest situations.
Where did they pull that from?
Barry was birthed from a dinosaur egg at the bottom of the ocean.
Hey, podcast kittens, it's Cathy Cat and
Ladybeard coming at you with another patent-protecting installment of
Cat with Beard.
Back again with Barry.
Barry, great to have you here. We started chatting between the last episode and this episode, and then we're like, oh, stop, we should probably talk about this on camera.
Right, just get on with it. So, here we go, dear friends. Barry, you had a big old controversy.
You went viral because of a controversy, as far as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Viral for reasons that one would usually consider to be unfavorable for viral going.
It definitely was not a positive experience or a positive reason.
Talk us through.
Flipping back to Sorbet, so we stopped there and like moved through different topics so we can come
Sorbet,
properly. So you were 3 people and you all had like a different member idea. Sorbet, fruity kind of topic.
Yeah, I always like the type of girl idols that I like. I tend to like the more fluffy, like super cutesy, cavity-inducing sweetness. So I was kind of like, I kind of want, our first like concept, I guess, to be around like sweetness and just cute J-pop vibes. And so that's why I was trying to think of like some sort of ice cream candy related like name. And then I was like, Sorbet has an E that I could make into a little 3 because there's 3 members. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a genius. But yeah, that is how that one came out.
Okay, so Sorbet, you said 2022 November.
Yes.
You're like, we're a group now. How does this start? Where did it go bad?
So we initially started posting on TikTok around that time. Actually, our member Alice was in charge of the Sorbet TikTok because at the time I actually despised TikTok. I was not like a fan of the type of content on there, like at all. And so I was like, I don't want to deal with it. You can do the TikTok stuff. I'll handle the Sorbet Instagram instead. And so she would tell us like, okay, we need to film dance trends. We need to post this kind of stuff because she used to work in like social media stuff. Oh. So she kind of had a little bit of knowledge with that. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just, tell me what to learn and I'll do it. So we would record dance trends, nothing crazy. We did like one performance without one of our members, Ash, because she was busy. And it was a very, very like last minute sort of thing. And I learned dances very quickly. So Alice was like, hey, do we want to just do this as like a 2-member kind of like teaser into Sorbet and just kind of like testing it out? Because we have a show in a week and you learn dances fast. So let's just do it. And I was like, okay. So we kind of like tested the waters. We each did like some solo stuff. We did some duo dances and everything. We posted videos of those. Everything was going fine. Everything was actually going quite well. We were invited to perform at this like ice cream shop.
Oh, that's good.
There's an anime themed ice cream shop in SoCal.
Awesome.
And they were having like a sort of just Japanese culture in general, like music performance thing. So there were people doing like anime covers, some people did dance covers, but we were also invited. And so that was actually our debut as the 3 of us.
Cool.
And I bring that place up because not only is that the only performance we ever got to do as the 3 of us, but also around the corner from the ice cream shop is where we filmed the video that changed our lives forever. So
tell us what happened.
So that video was us introducing ourselves and because we had a performance coming up like 2 hours away from where we were based out of, and we were like, okay, since we're like actually starting to perform as the 3 of us, we should probably like make proper introductions showing off our call and responses, which if you don't know what a call and response is, it's basically like a little interaction between the idol and the audience. It's usually themed after the idol's like personality or interests or just theme in general. So each of us kind of had our own like personality that we would kind of dip into. So I would say that like Alice was probably more of like the innocent, like soft, sweet, you know. If I'm going Love Live terms, she was like the pure attribute, you know. Whereas Ash was the more like cool gamer girl sorta vibe. And then I was like the smile one. So I was like the pink, bubbly Genki, like, yeah, you know, like that was the excited, happy one. And so we each made our own little call and responses and our own introductions. And we recorded it and we posted it a couple days later. And initially it was going fine. I even have a screenshot on my phone of the first like 4 comments that we received. And they were all like, wow, great call and responses, guys. Like, oh, you guys are so cute. I'm so excited to see what you guys do. And then it hit the For You page of people who don't know J-pop.
It sure did.
And
was that on Instagram or was that TikTok?
That was TikTok.
Okay.
And
this is all from the Tiki-Taki. Okay.
Yes. And so it just went like it went so insanely crazy. I think before I deleted it, it had 8 million views.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's, wow, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was like that video alone got like 8 million views. And then, of course, like all of our other videos that we had posted before that, like all of our innocent dance trends, all of our performances from the previous, or the performance videos from the previous show, all of those started getting like multiple millions of views as well. People were sharing them around, and people were just clowning on us so hard.
Okay, explain it to those who don't know you and don't know why that suddenly went viral and why it went viral for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, just quickly, this was what year? 2022, 2023?
This was now 2023.
Okay, so it was a specific
So you just
time
started
in
your
history.
group. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's specific. You just started your group. It's 2023. COVID is over. You done your first performance and you recorded your call and response. But it went very bad, certainly.
Yeah, there's a couple factors, honestly, as to what happened. Firstly, it was just the initial fact that we introduced ourselves as an idol group. And because a lot of the people that initially discovered this video were like K-pop fans or just not fans of idol culture in general and just had no idea what was happening, they'd be like, an idol group from California? Like, what is this? This is so cringe. This is so weird. So that was kind of the initial thing. And then it got worse because I, a white person, made my call and response in Japanese. Because like I mentioned in the previous episode, my goal was always to be an idol in Japan. And even though I was going to have Sorbet be in English and do like English music in America, I always wanted my solo stuff to be in Japanese because, you know, I speak it, I want to make music in it, and that was just my goal. So I figured that I would just have my call and response be the same in a group setting and in a solo setting, because I didn't really think that it would make much sense if I had a different one, because I'm not a different person. I'm the same idol. I'm just in a different, you know, situation. And so I spoke Japanese, and people didn't like that. And then the bullying got worse because I had black hair at the time, and it was the perfect storm. I had just gotten over having COVID.
Oh, wow.
Like I tested negative the day before the performance. So I had just gotten off of having COVID, and so my roots grew out.
Okay.
And I have naturally blonde hair. And for those who might not know, if you have blonde hair and then dye your hair black, when your roots grow out, it looks like you have a receding hairline.
Oh.
And so I also like was having my time of the month that same time. So I was feeling terrible overall, and I just threw my hair up in pigtails. I had bad roots. I was greasy. I was having a bad time, but I was like, we need to film this video. And I was just thinking like, you know, this ice cream shop performance is for like 15 people that I'm probably never going to see again. Like, I don't think I need to look perfect at all. And that was like the biggest underestimation of my life because millions of people saw that video. And, people were calling me bald because of my hair. And
Harsh.
people were like making fun of my body.
Body.
And then the main thing was me speaking Japanese, though.
There was a specific word that made it happen, yeah?
Yes.
Do you want to tell the people? Do you want me to tell the people? What do you reckon? Or do you want to leave it alone?
What do you feel comfortable
Oh,
with?
yeah. No, of course. Anything's fine. It was the word sutoroberi.
So like katakana English of strawberry.
Yes.
And that was what kicked it off.
That was it. I said, so the way that the video went, I don't think actually a lot of people finished watching it or like watched enough of it, because what happened was I started my call and response by giving you the translated version. So I would say like, I'm going to say, sutoroberi, and then you're going to say buruberi, and then I'm going to say like, in Japanese, I'm going to say how sweet is everyone's, or, who's everyone's sweet idol or something. And then it would be like, oh, Beri-chan. Because also, for those who don't know, it is quite common for idols to have nicknames that their fans call them. I was inspired because my favorite idol's nickname is Tegonyan.
No.
So, and as a Love Live fan, all of the seiyus have nicknames as well. So I was like, oh, like Beri-chan, that could be my name. And so I said that part in English. But then my actual call and response was in Japanese. But because they thought that I was speaking Japanese with like a racist accent, that's where the whole issue came from. Because they were people that don't actually speak Japanese or have any knowledge of the Japanese language at all, which was very frustrating as someone who speaks it and knows like what.
100%. So people hit you with the big old word of the moment or phrase of the moment, which was cultural appropriation, yeah?
Yes.
I was on your side over that, Barry. I heard that and I was like, yeah, cool. If you know if you speak Japanese, and secondly, if you know the idol culture in Japan, you know exactly what you're doing straight away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a call and response, and you just use the word strawberry, but you said it in katakana English.
But
Yes.
that's how they do it here, though.
Yeah, this is how you do it here.
All I saw is, okay, she's an American idol and she's doing the same idol thing they do in Japan. Happy days.
Mm-hmm.
However, those unfamiliar with J-pop didn't think the same. So
They did not.
Okay, so you were hit with all you're a white person and you're saying sutoroberi and you're racist.
Yeah, and it really like turned into the weirdest thing. Like I, in real time, was watching people who don't know anything about me or Japan or anything at all, just like take this and like twist it into like the most weirdest situations. Like someone would try to say like, oh my God, this girl wants to be Korean so bad. And I was like,
Or do I?
What?
K-pop is different. Korea is a different country than Japan. And like there were articles being written about me.
Oh, wow.
And like
whoa.
one article said like Barry spent most of her life in Korea, and then and I was like,
Where did they pull that from?
Barry was birthed from a dinosaur egg at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, right.
like, me just being like, at that point, like just a normal person, just reading these like such bizarre things happening. I was like, what is going on here? Like me just saying the word like sutoroberi, like literally turned my life upside down.
That's 5 syllables that changed your life.
Changed my
So
life.
8 million views at one point. At which point did you decide to take it down, and why? What had happened then?
So I took it down because we got doxxed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so from the moment that the video went viral, we were like immediately sent like death threats.
Whoa.
We were threatened with physical harm.
Whoa.
All 3 of us got doxxed.
Oh, no.
And so I figured like, you know what? Like I woke up to 50 missed calls from my best friend. And she was like, you need to take your name off of all social media platforms, you know, like your real name. You need to get rid of this. You need to do this and change this because you just got doxxed. And I moved and everything.
No,
because
you can't do that immediately.
So when people had
Yeah.
like knew where your address was, kind of.
yes,
Did someone like try and throw stuff at your window? Or?
people posted it on TikTok.
No.
Yeah, and my workplace was also doxxed.
No.
And like I lost that job because people were coming to my workplace and calling my workplace and like threatening the manager, threatening my coworkers just because they were like associated with me.
Hang on, and this was all a claim that you were racist somehow.
Yes.
Off the
It's
pronunciation
just like
of the word
taking it
strawberry.
like so many steps further than
It's
Yes.
so extreme, isn't it? Well, okay.
very extreme.
Okay, well, you
Yes.
poor girl. Okay.
Horrible.
Dude, that
And
was-
all of that happened in a week, by the way.
In a week.
Bro, I
Yeah.
can't imagine, dude. Like that happening to anyone is awful, but especially if you're a female, like that would be
There
freaking
was-
hard work.
Yeah, there was a lot of like kind of just woman hating going on.
Oh wow.
Of just kind of like not necessarily like straight up, you know, blatant misogyny, but it was a lot of kind of like, oh well, if, you know, these people were men, you guys would love this. You would eat this up. But because it's a girl having fun, you don't want to see that happen. So you're gonna, you know,
I think
there was a lot of arguments for that.
being a creator in the female space for like 13, 14 years now, it's people will always come harsher after girls. Like even if a guy is to blame, they will still come harsher after the girls. Like and they love like suddenly ganging up. Even girls do that. The whole ganging up culture, it's horrible. Like look like you'd think that, you know, girls would go like, oh, maybe let's cut her some slack or something. Nope.
Do the men gang up on you too?
Me? What
Yeah.
we're talking about Barry right now.
Yeah, I know, but with this female situation,
Men
you
do
say
too. Yeah. 100%. It's just it's in the creator space. That's I think I had this conversation actually today with another creator. It was like the top creators on YouTube, on Twitch, on everywhere. They will always be guys because that same support doesn't come like through for female creators in the same way. You'll have different audiences and different type of audiences, but not the same consistent support from a female and male audience. It's sad. It shouldn't be like that. But
And if there is a lot of support, it's usually for like, you know, ulterior motives or
and if
whatever
like
that may
fan
be.
bases can swap and change and that kind of stuff with female audiences as well. Like I don't think you'd say if you go for the top ranks of the creators, there's certainly guys, they're a certain age, and I have yet to see, hopefully it will happen, a girl in the same age and level of in that top ranking. Even in Japan, all the top creators are all guys.
Oh, I think I didn't know that really.
Sorry, yeah, but it's a bit, this topic
It's
is
all
really
right.
heavy anyways.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So, can we ask what that job was you got fired from?
I actually was I was working at a like kind of overall kawaii themed store.
That's a perfect place for you.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I was
man.
a TikTok live stream host.
Oh,
so
okay.
we would do a lot of our sales on TikTok. And I would kind of go on TikTok and I'd be like a live stream host and be like, hey guys, look at this cute plushie. You should buy it, you know? And I was just one of like the consistent, I was a pretty new hire at the time, but I got put into the live stream space very quickly because the manager like trusted me right away and thought that I was doing hopefully a good job. So I got to do a lot in the beginning, but then I swiftly lost that job when everything came through.
So you were getting harassment, you were getting threats, you had to change, you got doxxed, you moved, you lost your job, and that all in the span of 1 week.
I didn't move in that week, but everything else happened in about a week. Yeah.
Did you call the cops?
I did not make any reports because by the time that the news got out that I had been doxxed, I tried searching so hard for that initial video, but it couldn't be found anywhere. I found like the comments thread that it might have been linked in at one point, but the comment was deleted. And I think it's because a bunch of people did jump in to be like, hey, you know that's illegal, right? You know, to put someone in danger like that. And I think that it got taken down or they deleted it out of, you know, whatever reason. But and the following weeks were even more fun.
Oh dear.
Talk to us.
So after, it was actually, I think, a week to the day after, getting doxxed and everything happened. But all of a sudden, I'm just like scrolling through my TikTok because I was just looking for trending things to do to hopefully, because I was technically on a hiatus at the time, just for mental health, but I was like, I need to record dance trends when I come back. So I'll just look through what cute dances are trending. And all of a sudden there's a video that someone made, like a 10-minute video documentary on me.
Oh,
Whoa.
They claimed to know me personally, and like just for like almost 10 minutes straight went on with these like absolutely baseless rumors, accusations. And I saw this video had like 1 million views or something. And I was like watching this in horror. And I was just like, there were screenshots of conversations that were like edited and cropped to make me look bad. And things were taken out of context. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, because in that first week, even though everything was like pretty awful, there were a lot of like creators that speak Japanese or are Japanese, and they would come and be like, hey, no, Barry, like didn't do anything. She spoke it correctly. Her pronunciation was actually pretty good, which thank you. I work really hard. But like, the whole like sutoroberi thing kind of got debunked in that first little while. But where the like cultural appropriation and like fetishizing stuff came in was mostly from this rumor video that someone made.
So it's those kind of people are literally just trying to hop on the get me clicks bandwagon. We're like, there is a controversy, you got a lot of views, let's hack into that and like pull you more through the mud for their own benefit. Never forget that they got 1 million views on that. That was very calculating.
It was very sad because I actually don't know that person. And I assume that because the information that they had and the screenshots that they had were from a private Discord server that I was in with someone else that had beef with me for a completely unrelated reason. And it was very much like a wanting to kick me while I was down kind of moment.
Wow.
And so I was just watching this in horror, just like, what is going on? And I was watching just like, I went through the comments and I'm seeing like my friends in the comments being like, oh, and like completely like, oh, that person unfollowed me. Oh, that person blocked me. I lost like pretty much all of my friends. They never reached out to me or anything because they just saw
it online and they
video
believed it.
about the rumors and were like, oh, Barry's a terrible person, actually. Even though we're not going to check in with her and see how she feels or see what she has to say.
You learn who your friends are through experiences like that.
Absolutely. 100%.
Gosh.
Yeah.
This triggers me a little bit.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
A similar experience. So I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry you went through that.
No, I'm sorry that happened to you too. Gosh, it's really not, it's not fun.
Gosh, yeah. No one checked back and like, hey, what's actually going on? Like how you're actually doing. Exactly that is horrible.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I pretty much did deal with like non-stop harassment for months and months and months and months. I wanted so badly to put out a video defending myself, but someone close in my life was telling me like, no, you need to wait a little bit longer because unfortunately at this moment, people's hatred for you runs so deep that if you put out a video, even if you're completely right and you're completely speaking facts, no one's going to want to listen to you.
It's going to fuel the fire.
Yes.
It's no point. Like anything you're going to say, they're just going to turn around and like like even the word or the inflection, the way you were sitting or standing can be used against you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you did an apology video.
I did. That happened actually before the rumor video happened.
Right. Okay. So you
But-
actually at that point you had it well contained, like you said, with Japan saying,
Yes.
it is, you did the right thing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then that other video came out to like
Yes.
pull you down, and then it just escalated.
Yeah, it was kind of like Sorbet call and response video went viral. I put out the apology that was basically like, sorry for speaking Japanese. And like, that's kind of where other creators who either are Japanese or speak Japanese or live in Japan or something would make videos that were like, hey, why are y'all making her apologize for speaking a foreign language correctly? Like, it really did, like, I don't know if this is like a weird thing to say, but I did notice that I was getting a lot of comments that were like encouraging segregation and encouraging like purification almost. It was like it was a lot of like, you can't speak Japanese, you're white. You can't do this, you're white. And like, only Japanese people are allowed to speak Japanese.
That reminds me a little bit of that controversy when a girl said kawaii. And everyone, like, yeah, it was
That was nonsense.
Yeah, and it was like a girl of color. She was saying the word kawaii, and everyone just went after her, saying that's a slur. How dare you pull down Japan and like it's a racial slur? And she was just saying the word kawaii, and everyone in Japan was like, no, kawaii is a good word. No one's offended. Japan is not offended. No one's offended. But they went after her with so much. Again, it was a female creator, and they went after her just for using the word kawaii.
Oh my
Nobody's
gosh.
safe.
That reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah, it sounds like that's pretty.
It seems like TikTok is very toxic. So when it's like
Yes.
like latch onto someone and pull someone down, it seems everyone is very active about that.
Yes, because going back to what I said about like the segregation and purification, like so in our group, me and Alice are both white, and then our member Ash is Asian, and people would leave comments that were like, why don't we make an idol group of just the white people and just the Asian people? Or like, and like there were so many like weird, like it actually, like, if I can be so bold, some people were trying so hard to not be racist that they ended up leaving comments that were racist.
I was about to say, can we point out the irony of people claiming not to be racist, talking about segregation and purification?
It was wild to watch this happen.
It's like it's the saying that if you point your finger at someone, 3 fingers point back. A lot of people really need to take that to heart.
That's a good saying. I like that.
So, first week was awful. Second week was even worse.
Yes.
With that video. And
yes.
And then what?
Honestly, like I didn't make my like defending myself video until I think like February.
So like a year later?
So the initial video went viral in May of 2023. And then so like those first like few weeks of just like May to June were pretty bad. Sorbet actually, we disbanded because of the hate that we were getting. It just put us in danger, literally.
Yeah, you can't turn up and have people know where you're going to be. Huh?
Yeah, so like we just didn't want to, risk anything. So we just decided, like, we're all still friends. We all still hang out and text and go to conventions together. Like, our friendship is pretty much entirely unaffected. If anything, it like actually kind of like grew us together.
Yeah, because that makes you stronger, 100%. You go through something like that with people,
Absolutely. So, like, we're totally fine. But we just decided, like, as a musical group, we're just gonna kind of like, break off from that. But because this is like my dream, and in a weird way, like, the world's eyes are on mainly me right now. So I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of this. And that's why, even though our group disbanded, we actually were supposed to perform at this one idol event in August of 2023. But I knew the head of the event, and I asked him, like, hey, so unfortunately, Sorbet, we disbanded. I'm sure you can understand. But do you mind if I take the spot as a soloist? And he was like, oh, yeah, like totally. I even invited Alice to dance with me. Ash was taking like just kind of a break from everything for a while, which is the only reason that she didn't join me up there as well. But me and Alice did a thing, and that was kind of my big debut stage, I guess, as a soloist, which was really, really scary. I cried.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly,
But,
I am admiring your bravery for going on that stage by yourself after having to deal with so much.
thank you.
Like, sorry, 99% of people in the world would have given up. 99% would have not gotten on stage. But you're that 1% who was like, no, I will keep doing what I love doing.
Did you do something for the sake of your physical safety? Like, did you bring in security or something?
At that point, I didn't bring security, but I did bring a friend with me who was like a bigger guy. And I kind of told him like, hey, even for Checky, like I'm not going to be coming out from behind the table. I'm just going to stick back here. Just kind of like help me keep an eye on stuff so people aren't weird. And I usually do the same thing even these days when I go to events, especially big ones. I usually request if I can have some sort of handler or just have someone there with me, because unfortunately, even to this day, I still kind of deal with some funky situations.
And you still, sorry to interrupt, you still can't work a normal job, too, you reckon?
No, I actually, since I lost that first TikTok live streaming job, I tried to have like 4 or 5 other jobs, and I got doxxed at every single one.
Oh, boy! Glory be!
What's wrong with people being so after you, even like after you had did a video and an apology and explanation? I mean, they could literally use their power to like stop evil dictators or something like that. Yeah. Like use the power for good instead of like going after someone who's smaller than you, probably.
Yeah, the crazy part was I even tried so hard to like I would go undercover and I would wear wigs. I actually applied for one job. I applied with my real name, but I asked if I could have a different name on my name tag. I wore wigs. I wore masks. There was one point where I even like tried to change my voice and I tried to change my personality.
Poor girl.
And because I was like, I don't want anyone to like hear my voice like this and then see my bubbly personality and be like, oh, that's Barry. So I tried to be like, very quiet and very like,
Wow.
I'm gonna be the very quiet worker that doesn't talk to anyone and doesn't have any friends. And like, but even I swear this was wild. At that job where I was using a fake voice and a fake name and a wig and a mask and everything, someone called me over and was like, do you do TikTok?
Oh, wow.
Just purely from my eyes.
Oh, wow, man.
And I told them no. But I was like, oh, I'm cooked. How? Like, how did that happen? Am I like that trademark looking? I don't know.
Well, from a branding and a
speechless.
showbiz perspective, this is a good sign.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so at that point, I went through so many jobs that I was like, okay, I give up. I'm just gonna do this musician thing full time.
I guess in a way it pushed you into really pushing your career.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, the whole thing now has ended up being, sorry to sound crass, but I guess a blessing in disguise.
No, absolutely.
The video that got put up from creator, I assume the creator put their face and their name to it, because that is slander if it didn't happen. What did you do with that video?
So the video is still up because they did in that video make very, very valid points that there are like real cases of like, cultural appropriation that people do, like the fetishization of like Asian culture as a whole, Asian women as well, specifically.
But you're the target of that video.
I was the target, but I do still think that is an important topic that needs to be discussed in general. So there was an agreement to leave that video up.
So you actually talked with that person?
I actually didn't. Okay. My best friend did.
Wow.
And my best friend, who is Asian, so she can actually like
I
have those
see.
types of like real experience conversation.
She's permitted
Right.
to have the conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So they are the ones that came to the agreement that were like, this is an important discussion as long as we acknowledge that Barry isn't doing any of those things.
Yeah.
There are people that are, so we need to make sure that we police it and keep people safe and not have anyone do anything offensive or harmful. But just so we know, Barry's not the one doing it.
So did they take that part out with the fake screenshots and the fake conversations?
It is still up, but I think that my response video got more viewage and got more traction that I think at this point, like that video is pretty much irrelevant. If anyone hears any kind of rumors now, they just immediately get linked back to my response where I post like the unedited screenshots. And like I kept everything.
Luckily you
and
did.
I like went through and I explained everything and I talked about everything. I tried to like address as much as I could, at least the really big, important, like dangerous potentially ones. But yeah, but ever since that video, I swear that's actually like, that was a huge turning point in my online presence. Because there were a lot of people in the comments of that video that said like, thank you for finally saying something because, oh my gosh, like I used to like be so mean to you. I used to leave such horrible comments on your videos. But now that I've heard your response and I've seen the proof that you're not a bad person and people have been lying this whole time.
Oh, that's lovely.
That now I like you. And I was like, yay.
Well, that's delightful.
So I will say, even though, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. Even though I was saying that like I do sometimes still deal with like some weirdos at conventions and stuff like that. Like as a whole, like my experience these days is almost entirely positive.
That's
Thank
excellent.
God. I'm like, we're so
Yeah.
involved. I'm just sitting here getting more and more tense. I mean, it's also good that you didn't have an agency who then told you, no, you're not allowed to say anything, or you're not allowed to do this, or you're not allowed to do that. Because that's a vital thing that in Japan would have happened. Japanese agencies are very much like, no, you're not allowed to say anything, or you're not allowed to talk about, or you're not allowed to justify yourself.
You might have been
But you
fired from the agency or
you
something,
took
yeah.
your time, you took your time, and then you found the right answer.
Yeah, it was definitely... It's definitely been good, kind of, even though it is a lot of work to manage myself and do everything. It is kind of nice because I have a say. I have the only say in pretty much everything, like even the reason I'm here is because, like I reached out and was like, hey guys.
Thank you for doing that, by the way. I
No,
appreciate it.
thank you for having me and letting me yap your ears off.
I'm so amazed just how you made it through that, because that will break 99% of people. That kind of experience will break a lot of people. But you made it through, and you actually turn it into your strength of saying, well, people are looking now, so we got to give them something to look
I was
at.
going to say, it's, take that bull by the horns.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, even though I make some dark jokes about it sometimes where like people will ask me like, how do you get started as an idol? Like I need some advice. Like, and I'm like, well, first you need to be canceled for speaking Japanese. And, but no, seriously, blah, 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 blah.
Then you need to move and get fired and have your life threatened. And
you need to be traumatized first. But like, yeah, it really, like in a weird way, I am like so grateful because now I'm quite literally doing things that like kid me only dreamed of. Like even kid me like saw you on YouTube and was
thanks, bro. All right.
yeah, and was like, wow, like he's a foreigner doing stuff in Japan. That's so cool.
Oh, thank you.
And so like, now I'm sitting across the table from you and I have songs in Japanese and I'm performing in Japan and like I'm literally like, is my life real right now? Like,
That's awesome.
What helped you get through the worst of it? Like, what helped you? If anyone is like, and some even in smaller circles, the cosplay groups or, in smaller circles, you get that sort of like harassment and bullying, or if you put something up on TikTok, what helped you?
The main thing was really just my support system, I would say. I had some people that like really, really had my back. They like, I also take things with like my coping mechanism is definitely humor. So, you know, we had a group chat where we would screenshot some of like the most out of pocket comments that I would get, and we would make fun of them in the group chat. Because like I've been compared to Hitler. I've been compared to like cult leaders and all this stuff. And so we just share these comments and we're like, yo, like
That's a big one, the old capital H, isn't it? That's a big one. That's a big one.
And so it like we see stuff like that and we just laugh at it. And it really like, you know, if I was just going through that entirely alone, I will be honest that I did a couple of times reach a mental low point where I almost would not be sitting here right now.
Oh, dear.
It did happen a couple of times, but because of like, if I didn't have that support system and I was just receiving all of those comments with no one to like be there with me, I probably would have done it.
Dear.
But because I had the real friends that stuck with me and didn't, you know, leave me out to dry when they heard that something might have happened with me or something, you know, the real ones stuck with me and they're the ones that really helps me through it. But also like, I'm just really stubborn. Like and I'm not like fishing for compliments or anything, but like, I just really don't think I'm good at anything else. Like I've tried all those different types of dance. I've tried sports. I am not that smart. You know, I've tried many different things and I'm just not really like good at any other like jobs or like, I don't really have many other interests besides performing. And so like, I don't even really have much of a backup plan. I do have like technically like a backup plan for like, you know, when being an idol doesn't work out much anymore because of age or whatnot. But even then it's still involved in kind of a similar scene because I really like voice acting. I think
good.
I think that stuff is really interesting. But like I was just so determined. I was like, this is my dream and the only thing that I truly feel like a calling for. So like, I'm not going to let anyone take that from me. You know, like I've wanted to do this since I was a kid, you know, like, you know, if my mom was still here with us, she could vouch for me and be like, I would come upstairs and I would hear you dancing around past your bedtime, you know, like I have wanted it for such a long time that, you know, I was like, darn it, I'm gonna make this happen.
And you're making it happen, like literally right now, checking out your reels and your TikToks. You're doing really well.
Very
You're
well.
performing
Great.
all around. You know, have really busy days, and you're such an inspiration as well. And I guess there's like no girl on the internet will not be bullied for something. And you got extremely bullied and harassed for saying strawberry. So it's like a massive inspiration how you got up from that, having like all kinds of horrible things said about you, videos made about you, and you got up from that and you're still doing what you're doing and you're doing what you're loving.
Oh yeah, it's truly, like you said, a blessing in disguise that it's like, it was the worst thing to ever happen to me, but also like the best, craziest thing to happen to me, you know? It's been a ride. I always say that like, you know, I might not have taken the path that I thought I was going to, but you know, it was littered with some experiences I didn't really account for. Young me definitely did not expect. However, I'm still like, you know, I'm not there yet. I'm not at my end goal just yet, but I'm going towards it at least. So,
So what's next for Berry? Do you have things coming up that you want to plug or anything like that?
The big berry plans.
Big Berry plans.
Big Berry style.
I mean, my second single will be coming out on streaming platforms hopefully soon.
All right.
Yay! I don't have a confirmed date for it yet because it's still in its like final mixing, mastering stages. But hopefully soon. I've got a lot of performances coming up in America over the next few months. But my next Japan show for sure is going to be in Tokyo somewhere. It's going to be on March 14th.
Oh.
So if you want, I'm sorry, not March 14th, May 14th.
Okay, I was going to say,
My bad. No,
can't go travel back in time.
No, May 14th, my bad. But if you go to my socials, I'll definitely announce more details about it when I get more details. But yeah, that's at least what's going on in my world
What are your
at the
socials?
moment.
Yes, socials. One more time.
So if you'd like to keep up with my music, I'm on all streaming platforms as Berry, just Berry. And all of my social media is Blueberry Train, BLOOBERRYTRAIN.
Blueberry Train.
Blueberry
Now I
Train.
remembered how to spell that.
You do.
Thank you
do.
so much for sharing that. I
Yeah,
know
thank
that's
you,
like a
Barry.
tough thing to go back through, but thank you for being open with
thank
us,
you.
sharing and inspiring, hopefully, someone to not give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't feel like I'm worthy, but I'm very honored that like so many people have come to me and been like, I started idol activities because of you.
Oh,
like,
look at that.
you know,
Sweet.
even
Changing
if it's,
lives.
Yeah, like some isn't even idol stuff. Like I've gotten letters that have been like, I got rejected from my like dream school at one point, and it really like discouraged me. But like I'm gonna keep going and be my like dream of being a toy designer or something.
Right.
Like even if it's not the music field, it's still like, you know, they feel inspired to go after what they want to do. And like, that's kind of been my goal all along, because my favorite idol, Mai Kamiyoshi, inspired me to be an idol. And he filled me with so many positive emotions and love and inspiration that like, if I could do that for someone too, like that's my mission, you know?
Oh, that's lovely.
So.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Very strong statement. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
the
you, Barry.
podcast.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, my
you.
friend. Thank you so much.
We will see you soon, hopefully, with another episode of
Cat with Beard.